A family gets a new canine. After the vet notices it, he phones the police. She had to view her 2-year-old puppy through new eyes due to what he had done, and she could not turn away from it anymore. Welcome to USA Stories channel. Do not forget to subscribe and activate the bell button to receive all new updates. Now let's go to the story. It was already too late when the reality finally hit her. The cops would be at her house in no time. Soo-yoon realized she was in serious danger. Soo-yoon believed she understood what she was getting into. She had read the reviews, done her homework, and become knowledgeable about exotic dog breeds. She had purchased the dog bed, collar, leash, shampoo, and personalized tag, among other necessities. They were prepared for the commitment, in her opinion. But she started to worry as he started to outgrow his lead, collar, and bed. Then the unthinkable occurred. It all started off rather casually. Soo-yoon, her husband, and their 2 small children resided in Kunming City, China. The industrious mother felt that a vacation was much needed since she was finding it difficult to balance her full-time job and her family. However, Soo-yoon was unaware that fate had a surprise in store for her. The Yoons left for their much-anticipated journey to Asia, prepared with their baggage, ready for the holiday that would transform their life. They had no idea that their error would become widely known 2 years later. The family had just started to settle into their holiday routine a few days after arriving, when they stumbled upon a litter of pups. The kids were begging their parents to take them when they saw the cute balls of fluff. Soo-yoon and her spouse had been thinking about getting a family dog for a few weeks, but they hadn't anticipated finding what they were seeking for here, of all places. Holding one to her chest, Soo-yoon wondered if it was meant to be. However, Soo-yoon was unaware of the whole cost of taking one of these puppies home. The Tibetan Mastiff puppy the Yoons purchased had come with a warning from the man who sold them, stating that at full grown, he would likely stand 2 feet tall. With their new family member, the Yoons were overjoyed and gave him the amusing moniker, Little Black. They were unaware that this specific small dog would turn out to be a significant issue. It was soon time to bring their new family member back to Kunming City, as the family's love with the dog grew stronger every day. It was also time to decide on his sleeping arrangements. The weather in Kunming City was mild enough for dogs to sleep outside, but Little Black would have to stay inside, according to the Yoon family. Little Black was delighted to remain in close contact with his new family, but soon after, they started to detect something strange about him. The fact that he refused to eat any dog food she put in front of him struck Soo-yoon as a little odd. He would only eat fruit and noodles enthusiastically, and Soo-yoon gave in. But since she was new to dog ownership, she dismissed it as a finicky behavior of his. However, Little Black quickly had her eating at home. Little Black's appetite never slowed down, as he would often go through an entire carton of mixed fruits and 2 buckets of noodles. Soo-yoon had spent a lot on Little Black's meals by the time the child became a year old. Aside from his peculiar taste in fruit and noodles, the family started to notice some other concerning traits in their new dog. They had no idea that they might run into legal issues later on. Soo-yoon wasn't ready for Little Black's growing size, even though she had anticipated him to develop into a giant dog. Little Black had grown to be 2 years old, 3 feet tall, and weighed an incredible 250 pounds, much more than even the vendor had predicted. However, Soo-yoon raised all the red flags when she witnessed Little Black doing something so unsettling in the kitchen one day. When Soo-yoon entered, Little Black was on his hind legs. This was unlike any other dog Soo-yoon has seen standing up like a person while doing tricks or pleading for food. Now was the moment to acknowledge that there was definitely something unusual about this dog. And then she began to feel afraid. The family was getting nervous about this puppy because of how quickly he was growing. Some traits, such as the size of his teeth, were invisible when he was a puppy. Little Black was standing on his hind legs all the time now. It was getting a little scary to be near him because of his size and huge white fangs, and he didn't like to move on all fours. Soo-yoon had read about past incidents of mistaken identification, but she remained in denial. As Soo-yoon suppressed her concerns, Little Black began to gain notoriety among the neighborhood. The massive dog had grown too huge to dwell inside the house and had become quite the spectacle to walk. The family constructed a temporary dog home for him in the backyard, but naturally, taking him outside didn't solve their issues. Little Black was an outside dog now, and Soo-yoon expected him to act like one. You would think he would have taken to barking at anything that moved and defending the house from trespassers, but he never did. Upon more reflection, Soo-yoon realized that the only noise she had ever heard him make was a low growl. It was becoming increasingly obvious that she had made a grave error, and Soo-yoon's concerns mounted as Little Black got bigger. There was just something off. She started looking up typical behavior among Tibetan Mastiffs, but what she discovered just made her worries worse. A veterinarian on the group told her that he would need to contact the police when she shared a picture of Little Black online. In reality, Little Black was a gigantic black bear. He wasn't just any black bear, the veterinarian informed her. He was an Asiatic black bear, sometimes referred to as a Tibetan or Himalayan bear. These bears weigh an incredible 440 pounds and may grow to a height of 6 feet. Subsequently, he revealed to her some shocking facts that left her speechless. Bear ownership of any type is illegal in China and can result in jail time. Yes, Soo-yoon was in a very bad condition. Even though she had come to adore Little Black, she was aware that she couldn't have him. What would happen if he turned hostile against her and her kids? Simply put, the risk wasn't worth it. She was desperate and believed there was still something she could do before the police got involved. Her first thought was to give the zoo a call. She didn't have his birth certificate, and the zoo wouldn't even consider admitting Little Black without the necessary documentation. Moreover, they purchased the bear on their vacation and were unable to get in touch with the seller. Soo-yoon was without options. Due to her precarious situation, she was forced to make the police contact herself. She had no idea that they were already pursuing her. Her residence was visited by wildlife specialists, escorted by police within 1 hour. The veterinarian had informed them after seeing her post in an animal behaviorist site. Soo-yoon needed to give some explanations. She cooperated with the authorities, attempting to provide them with all the information they needed to locate Little Black a secure new home, and she explained the situation she had found herself in. However, what would be the repercussions? Surprisingly, Soo-yoon is not the first person who discovered that her dog wasn't actually a dog. In Arizona, a teenage boy saved what he believed to be a dog. He gave the puppy the name Neo and made an effort to get him used to a schedule, but the puppy appeared to struggle immediately away to get used to daily living. Someone didn't realize that his dog was actually a wolf for a year. But what would become of Little Black? Little Black seemed more and more like a bear as he developed, Soo-yoon said. She then acknowledged that she had a mild fear of bears. The wildlife experts headed out to Little Black to inspect Soo-yoon, while the police stayed with him to gather information. While Soo-yoon awaited the outcome, they examined him for wounds and indications of malnourishment. Little Black was deemed healthy and well-fed by officials. They would now need to put him to sleep so they could take him to the nearby wildlife facility. The experts were shocked when he showed up. It turns out that Soo-yoon had been maintaining a deadly Asian bear in her backyard. The media quickly became aware of Soo-yoon's grave error. The main inquiry that piqued everyone's interest was how Soo-yoon and her family had failed to realize that their dog was actually a large wild beast. Before long, National Geographic intervened and reported the subject, sparking a public uproar and instantly becoming an internet phenomenon. Soo-yoon was uncomfortably aware that she may go to jail now that everyone was watching her. Amidst the widespread media coverage and popular indignation, an unexpected event transpired. Individuals started telling their own tales of adopting household animals, only to discover later that they were a different species. According to National Geographic, this is not an isolated incident and occurs far more frequently than you may imagine. Would Soo-yoon be held accountable for her error, though? Luckily for Soo-yoon, the authorities recognized her continuous cooperation and used it as a major factor when determining how to punish her. She stated once more that while the occurrence was regrettable, it had been an instance of mistaken identity. Ultimately, the individual who had marketed her Little Black had professed to be a Tibetan Mastiff. Despite the Asiatic bear's status as a protected species, Suyun escaped going to jail. They still mourn Little Black, the cat they knew and loved for more than 2 years, even though moving him to a neighboring sanctuary was the greatest choice for both the family and him. The joyful ending of the narrative is good news. Little Black is in capable hands and will spend the rest of his life on the reserve. Please remember to subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our videos. If you enjoyed the tale, the next video that plays on your screen will probably move you too.